Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to break down and predict an outcome of LSU's road trip to Texas A&M. You can catch that 6:30 Central on ABC. BetOnline has Texas A&M as a 3-point favorite with an over-under of 54, making for a predicted final in the range of A&M 29, LSU 26. Chase, LSU scored a dominating win in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Not an easy place to win, as Tennessee found out a couple of weekends ago. And A&M just kind of scraped by a pedestrian trip to Starkville, I guess I'd put it, against a team that's played better football than its 1-6 record would indicate in Mississippi State. Not the greatest game for Connor Wegman, but hey, in this league, a win is a win. Both teams, maybe the two hottest teams, if you want to go back to opening day when both lost and haven't lost since in the SEC, and in a very exciting matchup and one of the key games that will determine playoff, league title chase, all those things.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. I think these are the two hottest teams in the SEC right now. While other teams have started out good, maybe dropped one along the way, or just they haven't looked good, I feel like these two teams, like, they have consistently gotten better, and that's what you want to do. Like, you want to get better as the season goes along, and both of these teams have done that. And so I think that's what sets up this really intriguing matchup Saturday, is just the fact that both teams continue to improve and they're playing their best football of the season right now as they play each other.
Yeah, statistically, a very interesting matchup for some things that I'll get into. And let's start with LSU's offense. The Tigers have scored 34.1 points on average, an average of 64 offensive snaps a game, turnover rate of 1.6% on average, which is fairly good, at least average, I guess. The Tigers throw the ball 65% of the time, 7.7 yards on passing plays. They get sacked a league low 0.7% of passing plays. That is amazing. Tigers have given 2 sacks all year. Rushing plays, LSU averages 4.9 yards per rushing play for 6.7 yards per snap. The Aggie defense, A&M gives up 17.7 points a game on 64 snaps, a 1.8% turnover rate. Teams throw it 55% of the time against the Aggies for 5.5 yards per passing play. Just for comparison, the league average is 5.8. That takes sacks and counts them as passing plays. Aggies give up 4 yards even a run, 4.8 yards per play, which is good. Hey, this LSU offense just continues to get a little better every week. Garrett Nussmeier is a sleeper candidate, I think, for SEC Player of the Year. It feels like their weapons increase just every week. C.J. Daniels kind of had a breakout game last week, 7 catches, 86 yards. Kyren Lacy, Aaron Anderson, 2 of the better receivers in the league. Mason Taylor, top 2 or 3 tight end in the league. And then Caden Durham, another good game, went over 100 yards rushing at Arkansas with 3 touchdowns. Really love what this offense is doing right now. Of course, A&M's defense, as we know, can really get after you in terms of what it can generate with the pass rush. Nick Scorton, the Samars. I mean, just a lot of really good players on this side of the matchup for both teams.
Yeah, and that's what's really intriguing to me, because Garrett Nussmeier has had a great season so far. He's thrown for 2,222 yards, 18 touchdowns. He's only been sacked twice. He has thrown 6 interceptions, but he's 183 of 283 there throwing the football. So he's gonna get a lot of pressure this week, abnormal pressure than what he's used to, because of what Texas A&M does there with their pass rush. So I'm interested to see how Nussmeier handles that, and who can be the quick targets, because he's going to have to get the football out of his hands quick. And, will we see, maybe some more C.J. Daniels like we did this week? Kyren Lacy's been tremendous. Aaron Anderson, Mason Taylor, these guys you mentioned, and then, get Caden Durham, Josh Williams involved out of the backfield that have been running the ball good. And so there's numerous weapons for this LSU team, and I thought the run game has come along nicely. Emory looked so good in that opener, and then he gets hurt and is out for the year. And you're thinking, well, what exactly are they going to do running the football? Well, I think Durham's done a great job of stepping up and making that happen for LSU. But yeah, going against A&M's defense, who's played well as of late, and again, that pass rush really good. It's going to be tough for LSU to generate what they're used to doing offensively.
All right, before we flip sides of the matchup, tell us quickly about BetOnline, Chase.
Yeah, they're the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting, every stat, matchup breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the game. Largest catalog of odds. They've got football, of course, the World Series coming up with the Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL, NBA, political props as well. They've got blackjack and poker there. Their online casino, over 150 slots games. So head over to their website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online. The game starts here.
All right, let's talk about A&M's offense. Connor Wegman wasn't great last week. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Still good enough. Of course, they've got Marcel Reed in tow if they need him. One thing they do well is they don't turn it over. A 0.9% turnover rate. That's one of the better marks in the league. A&M averages 31.4 points on 65 offensive snaps, 7.1 yards per passing play. They give up sacks 4% of the time, and they throw it 39% of the time, or run it 61% of the time, where they get 5.7 yards per rushing play for an average of 6.2 yards per snap. LSU's defense, in a season of surprises, LSU being good on defense, and especially if you knew that Harold Perkins was going to miss a lot of the year, and he's done for the year, as I think people know, that would not have been something we expected. The Tigers giving up just 20.6 points a game, and it's been against a good schedule too. Jeff Sagarin ranks that schedule 24th nationally. Turnovers, LSU forces turnovers 2.5% of the time with a sack rate of 9.9%. That's really good. I think that is number 2 in the league behind South Carolina. They've got 24 sacks so far this year. Do the Tigers? Teams will throw it 56% of the time against LSU, 6.3 yards per passing play. Again, sacks count as passing play. So when you get one off against them, you have some success, but getting it off is the trick. 5 yards even per rushing play, 5.8 per snap. Yeah, I think obviously A&M wants more out of Connor Wegman, but I think what is interesting in this side of the matchup, we've talked about how potent A&M's rushing offense has been, and that has been a place where LSU has had trouble, is stopping the run.
They have, and I think I've been so impressed with Le'Veon Moss, what he's been able to do for A&M. Amari Daniels as well, but Moss 674 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season, and yeah, they do want to see more out of Connor Wegman, but I think he's had some really good moments this year, and I think he will continue to, and they've been able to kind of spread it out of who he's throwing it to, with Noah Thomas and Cyrus Allen and Trey Watson and those guys. So I think that's something they may want to pick up in the pass game, a little bit, but I think they're running the ball great, and that could be a great game plan, like you mentioned, against LSU, who's had a hard time stopping the run. You can get the game established that way on Saturday if you're A&M, to just run the football and make LSU stop it.
Yeah, Whit Weeks and that defense have played really well. Speaking of good things, Chase, before we get into picks, want to tell our folks out there about a product we're excited to partner with. That's Future Fans. We've talked to you a little bit about the kit. You can see that in the background. Starts with the book, and this is to explain football to your kids or your grandkids. And boy, I'm fortunate my son loves football, but if I'd had this, the explanation would have been a lot easier. It goes from books and into games, and this kit has got 8 or 9 parts to it. It's really well put together. I cannot believe this thing only costs $50. But part of the kit is games, and you get these games to teach kids football. Beanbag tosses to talk about downs and what you do with them. You can see them labeled 1 to 4. You've got rings for the circle toss and things like that. This is rope. It's really well made. You can go to futurefans.com for yourself and see about their variety of games that teach kids sports. The testimonials are just absolutely amazing. What people have told me about using this game to teach their kids about sports and how their kids are so engaged and watching with them now. Family time, really important to the Lees. I'm sure it's important to you too. Go to futurefans.com and get your 10% off with the code SEC. Help out those who help our show. Got a 4.9 rating on Amazon. There's a reason for that. A fantastic product. Hope you guys will take advantage of that special offer. Get it for Christmas or whatever floats your boat here. Chase, picks and why. Let's get your reasons.
Yeah, I've had a hard time with this one as I've been thinking through it because both teams are just playing really well right now. I'm going to go with Texas A&M because they're at home. I think 12th man comes in big for them. It is a 6:30 kickoff there in College Station, so that makes me ride with the Aggies. I think it will be a razor thin margin in this game, and but I think Texas A&M pulls it out at home in a raucous environment at Kyle Field.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I just like what LSU's been doing recently. Yards per play to some pretty good offenses, working backwards. 5.5 against Arkansas. Same against Ole Miss. 5.3 against Alabama. 5.1 against UCLA. 6.5 against South Carolina on the road back on September the 14th. That was kind of an anomaly. And I just think this is a team that really can protect the passer. That neutralizes a lot of what A&M does. Those two tackles just don't give up sacks to anybody. And A&M is really good at protecting the quarterback. In fact, very good, better than anybody not named LSU. But I think LSU's pass rush maybe got a chance to make a play or two there. Now, I worry about the run defense for LSU. But listen to this. On the road, here's what LSU's done so far. It's won at South Carolina 36-33 after Carolina came off a fantastic performance in Lexington. And it just won at Arkansas 34-10. I feel like this is a team that's been road tested so far. I just think these are probably the two most consistent teams in the league right now. And you might say LSU's even been a notch more consistent than A&M. We're probably nitpicking here, but I think it's interesting we go opposite sides of the matchup. It's a 3-point game, which means it's on a neutral field. It's a pick 'em, which is probably appropriate. Anyway, can't wait to see this one. It will be the game of the week in the SEC. When it is over, come to our channel on Saturday night as we recap this and all the other games around the league. We do basketball and baseball also year-round. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button so that you can get all that content. Also, Caroline.Smith@southeastern14.com for your advertising inquiries, and we reach millions of people per year. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by Bet Online.